So, just a few stats of Plymouth. We have about 80-ish thousand people. I believe we're the fourth largest economy in Minnesota. As you can tell, our boundary, we've got almost like a nice township with a few little niches, and then we have Medicine Lake, the city of Medicine Lake within Plymouth. But we have, yeah, about 325 miles of roadways, including 930 cul-de-sacs, 676 miles of sanitary sewer and water main pipes. So a lot of assets, over 400 storm water quality ponds, 8 lakes, and over 1,000 wetlands and 4 watersheds. Um, and 2 water treatment plants, 18 wells, and 2 water storage tanks. And we just started also supplying water to the little city of Medicine Lake as well. And then we have 16 sanitary sewer and storm sewer lift stations, which are hard at work today. And we have a city fleet of 500 pieces of equipment. So we're pretty much developed out. There's a few new developments going in, like on the northwest side. But we are in the process of redeveloping. Like the big project right now is the Prudential lot up by Maple Grove. Um, off of is a 494 and Highway 10. It's a huge corporate campus that's redeveloping right now, and it's going to have all kinds of cool stuff there. So,
Yeah, it's quite a transition for our GIS team from when I started. I've been here for like 12 years, and for the first like 4 years when I started, when Plymouth was developing so fast, I would spend like 3 months straight in the wintertime just drawing in utilities like every day of the week. And that was my entire winter. And now it's moved past that to where we get to do more fun stuff. But it was a lot of just drawing in GIS constantly all the time back 10 years ago. And now we're getting to the point where we're developed out and starting to move on. Like we said already, we have kind of a team of 3 people here that are the heavy GIS users, myself in IT, Annetta on Public Works, and Sonia on Parks. And I kind of, in the IT department, I kind of oversee the enterprise system, the back end database stuff, schema changes, upgrades, things like that. And I also kind of take care of the GIS needs for the departments that aren't Parks and Public Works. And I also work hand in hand with them every day on all the other projects that we do here. We do have an enterprise agreement with Esri, and we've had it since 2023, which has been huge for us as far as not having to purchase software and licenses constantly and struggling with. For a few years there, we were going back and forth with like changing users from a creator to a viewer on like a daily basis because someone was editing out in the field and now they're not and someone else is editing. So that was a big change for us, and it's been very helpful, especially since Cartograph also uses our ArcGIS login. So in order to edit in Cartograph, you need to have a creator license in there. So I'll be interested to see Jason's presentation as far as how the new users go in there. I know I did see the number goes down a little bit, which we're not at our quota yet, but I can foresee more people needing that license in the near future also. So it'll be interesting to see that. We're currently on ArcGIS Enterprise 10.9.1 on-prem. I have another slide that kind of lays out our diagram of what servers we have and stuff like that. But we have plans to upgrade this fall or winter to 11.5. So that's kind of one of the big projects on queue for us here. It'll be all new servers and upgrading SQL Server and all that fun stuff. So I'm excited for that because we've kind of been fighting the battle of what we can't do in 10.9.1, what we can do in ArcGIS Online, and like how to manage that back and forth and the collaborations and stuff like that. So it'll be nice just to get moved up to the newest version. We are with Portal and ArcGIS Online. We're using SAML single sign-on. We just finished migrating most of our. I think Parks is the last department that we have to do, and it's a very easy process. The only hangup we had is Cartograph uses the same login, so when we do the switch over, when they start using single sign-on, we have to physically go into Cartograph and rename their account from whatever their named user is to the @plymouthmn.gov. So it's not seamless. Like they have to be like, okay, you're switching over today, you're doing this, otherwise you can't go in and do anything in Cartograph right now. So that's kind of been the only holdup, is like actually getting a hold of people and, fighting that battles like, hey, we're switching this right now. If you don't do it, you can't do anything today. Um, Currently we're on ArcGIS Pro 3.4.3. I think 3.5 just came out recently. We'll probably move up to that here pretty soon. We have about 20 to 25 users that have Pro installed. They don't all use it on a regular basis, and probably we have like a handful of people that are still using ArcMap, basically just to like open old map templates and create maps and stuff like that. I still have one service published out of ArcMap that hasn't been moved to ArcGIS Pro yet, basically because there's like an XY event layer that is locating like some police stuff that I switched over to ArcGIS Pro one time and it broke, and I switched it back right away. Never went tried to fix it because it's going away and within the next like 6 months. I was like, I'm just gonna let it roll and be done with it when it's done, not spend any time on it. Yeah, so I think we have like basically our planners left that are using ArcMap, that it's going to be a simple changeover, but they're basically just opening ArcMap to a template and exporting a map out of there. I think that's pretty much it. So within our environment here, we have our portal machine internally, our ArcGIS server machine. Portal is also our data store machine. We do have GeoEvent basically just to track our plow trucks and some other public work fleet stuff. We don't really use it for anything besides that. We use it if we have time. We'll show a flushing map. So like when the guys are out hydrant flushing, you can see where the teams are specifically on the map, and you can kind of filter through our dashboard to see if, okay, this is the day they're on, and it shows the area. So when people are calling in, the front desk staff can look at that and say like, yep, they're flushing in your neighborhood right now currently. So it's kind of more of an internal thing. We haven't made that public yet, but I think we've talked about it. We'll see where that goes. We also have a server for big data store for GeoEvent, which we have not used, and it's probably going to go away in the next upgrade just because it was something that we thought we were going to and never did. Yeah. We have our web server with web adapter and basically our ArcGIS Online portal, all the apps and everything else out there. It's pretty standard. Everyone's probably pretty familiar with it. I can't think of anything that's really out of the ordinary. I'm a little bit worried about upgrading SQL Server just from repathing everything that's out there. Within the last couple of years, we've had a lot of good interns, and they've gotten to the point where they're doing a lot of work like independently with the crews and stuff, and building their own applications and publishing their own services. So like going back and finding all that, taking ownership, and just the whole process of once we get to a new SQL Server, it's probably going to be a little bit of work to get everything back to the right place. It will be nice because it's going to be a fresh install, so it's going to be all new servers, so we can have everything up and running before we have to flip the switch and go live with it. So that is one nice thing about that. Integrations with our GIS. Obviously, Cartograph's a big one. Our asset management system syncs every night between the two systems. When you edit in Cartograph, it pushes it live to GIS, but we don't have that going back the other way. We still do the syncs every night. BSNA is our property management system that community development uses, and that's as simple as spatial views where we pull data to use in our maps. New World is our finance and HR system, which they're currently replacing with the new ERP called Workday. I don't really know much about it, but supposedly it's going to be a couple of year process to get that to go live. Tree Keeper is a new one. Get the name of the actual company. What was it? Yeah.
Yeah, we looked
Yeah.
ourselves, we got denied because our parks are too spread out.
Oh, really?
Oh.
So the big thing that we wanted to do with that one is they're doing a smart scan of all of the city, correct me if I say anything wrong here, Sonia, but a smart scan of all of the city trees, anything in the right of way or boulevard. They actually drive something down there,
It's like
and it's like LiDAR,
Google
they're
Mobile.
collecting LiDAR data on all the trees. And so they're gonna have a 3D image scan of every single tree that the city owns or maintains. And they'll be able to do that every couple of years, and you can manage like the health of the trees and, you know, the foliage or the coverage, and if something is removed that we don't know about or whatever might have happened. So that was a big investment that the city made in that, and that's also gonna be another integration because Tree Keeper keeps all their tree inventory data separate from our GIS and from cartographs. So we're gonna have like a three-way integration going back and forth with our tree inventory at that point, which I'm not exactly sure how that's gonna work yet, but we'll figure it out.
What was the name of that company?
Green,
It's like Green Hill or Green Hill. It's like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's another city in the metro that's doing it too along
Bloomington,
Bloomington,
Oh,
right? I think, yeah.
yeah.
And I think they're starting in July with the 3D scan. It was supposed to be June, but I just saw that it's July now.
July, yeah,
Yeah, and I think it only takes a couple weeks to get through the entire city
yeah.
from what I read. Yeah,
Yeah, Public Works, we're gonna try to steal some of that data to use for, in our right of ways for like,
signs.
for like smart street sweeping. So using like street sweeping based on the canopy coverage from tree keepers so that, we can be really smart about it and kind of help our water quality.
Yeah,
by,
like what trees are
yeah.
located where and which has the most stuff that falls down and where they
Mhm.
might have to sweep more often than other places.
Like the MPCA has like a program for smart sweeping. But we're taking it one step further because we're getting all this data. We might as well repurpose it instead of, looking at imagery and eyeballing it. Um, and-
Pioneer is another new one that's for our sewer televising. We previously had WinCan and had a lot of trouble with
Yeah,
them
I
as
don't
far as like customer support and the usage was tough to use because we had to have guys out in the truck VPNing in to use ArcGIS Pro and stuff like that. And it was just it was kind of a headache.
Yeah.
So this one seems a lot easier so far. We just got trained in on it last week or the week before that. So that's another new one.
Great directly with Pro and with enterprises.
We thought it did and they led us to believe it
Oh,
did,
they always.
but it doesn't. No,
ArcGIS.
we're basically, so if you have like a feature service of your data in ArcGIS Online, you can use that directly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just importing GeoJSONs right now because our stuff's in Portal. And I tried doing a collaboration with ArcGIS Online and using that, but it didn't recognize that service. So
But if it's on server, it will.
if it's in ArcGIS Online, like an
Oh,
actual
cool.
feature service in ArcGIS Online, so you're still copying the data some way to
Got it.
do it, yeah. Because the collaboration did not work for me. So yeah, we hoped it was gonna, and that was part of the reason why we went with them, but it doesn't. Yeah. Then other than that, just our regular, I mean, we have tons of companies that are doing things with applications that are just consuming services of ours too, so that's all fun.
So, just a little bit about Public Works GIS. We have our intern Max Sinekin that I introduced earlier. He's interning with us in Public Works, but he also works a lot with Brian. Just because we're kind of like the bulk GIS user of the city, wouldn't you say? And just a little bit about Cartograph. That's like a big part of like my job in Public Works. It's the new name is Enterprise Asset Management, but we still call it Cartograph. I don't think we'll ever stop. But we share Cartograph with our Parks and Forestry Department, which Sonia manages for them. So that's like a big part of like using that for tasks. We also have Cartograph is integrated with SeeClickFix, so that residents can submit, requests, issues, and then the bulk of them go into Cartograph for like Public Works and Parks. And we have automation, so they get pushed to like the request owners. So Public Works, so I support engineering and water resources. They're one department, and then our maintenance team that I'm actually a part of. So utilities and streets departments. And then we also have a facilities and fleet department, which is kind of a lot smaller user of Cartograph and GIS. Big part of my job is like providing training and technical support for cartograph, GPS, like we have a few high accuracy GPS collectors, and then also like our GIS web apps to like our office and field staff, and then working with contractors or consultants as well. So that's part of my job I kind of enjoy is, getting to work with people and troubleshoot and, provide solutions. And then last year it was the lead service line inventory, but this year, like our big project is fiber optic internet expansion. So we have a bunch of fiber companies. I think we have 4 major companies right now that are putting in right of way permits in Plymouth and putting in like fibers so that people can connect to their house. It's like a huge project. So we're working with some consultants out in the field to like kind of manage those projects for the city and kind of manage the resident interactions and the effect on the residents. And then where we come in is like we have contractors that are also helping with utility locates for us because that's such a huge thing right now. And then they're also helping with GPS data collection. And then we have a whole like process. We have like a web map for the um fiber consultants to use. We use cartograph requests. We have them trained in cartograph, like if they're find utilities issues out in the field, like people's curb stops are buried or they can't find them or they're sticking out, they can put requests in through or tasks in through cartographs. So kind of integrating them and kind of being smart about using our consultants to kind of maximize some of the work that'll kind of help us long term. Well,
Right,
they're
they're-
going through that.
Yeah, they're installing fiber in the entire city, so they're
Yeah.
locating pretty much everything
Yeah.
throughout the city. So we're like, why not use that to our advantage
Mhm.
and have people out there GPSing everything as we go? And so between the contractors and public works staff and yeah, it's a lot. So
Yeah.
and the right of way permits that they have to pull and yeah, it's a lot.
Yeah. So we definitely, I mean, we're using the funds from the right of way permits to like, provide additional staff, like consultants. We're working with Bolton and Mank and WSB. So we've had great partnerships with them and it's definitely having their help and their support and kind of, getting an early start on all this has really kind of made the whole process like a lot smoother.
Yeah,
And
we purchased 2 new GPS units, I think
Mhm.
also just to
Yep.
go to have available for out in the field as we
Yeah.
go.
And then working with we have kind of working with Bolton and Mank through their ArcGIS online to get the data from their equipment because they're using their own service for their GPS and Max here is helping us with all the updates. Um, yep. Um, so some of the projects, I'll let you.
Yeah, like I
start
talked
it.
about before, our upgrade to Enterprise 11.5 and along with that directly correlated is migrating all of our web apps that we still have in Web App Builder and configurable apps to Experience Builder and Instant Apps, which is it's a fun process, but also I mean, because you can, as you guys probably know, you can spend as much time as you want digging into these things and trying to make them as cool as you can, but you also have to like team that up with like being efficient and obviously everyone has everything else to do in the world too. So it's like you have to carve out the time to do it, but also get the rest of your stuff done. And then also, I was talking to John about this earlier, is we used to have LexisNexis public crime map, and we are going to be doing something internal now because they had gotten rid of that. So that's going to be another big one that we're going to tap into here pretty soon.
And then also like training existing users for the switch to ArcGIS Pro. I think some of them just need a little kick in the butt to like switch over. So kind of encouraging them, helping them, supporting them through that transition. So that's a big one. Then also in public works, I'm leading, getting our CIP and project, like our construction projects, like migrated from like file geo databases to like, into the enterprise. And we want to make some web maps too, instead of paper maps. Just kind of have it all in one place and kind of have a seamless integration and then, have some editable maps too for the engineering team to like, if they need to change a status or a CIP or stuff like.
5 years, they kept track of all of their CIP mapping stuff in Google Maps and like they created their own thing and it was just like We couldn't
Yeah.
couldn't get them to switch, couldn't get him to switch.
No, we're like-
Like,
we-
please.
Yeah, we have professionals
love of
here.
God.
So kind of that's been a big project for me that I was hoping to have something to show you guys, but fortunately, like other day-to-day stuff kind of piles up. And then the big one right now too, that I'm sure you guys are working on is web accessibility. So I did put a plug in, future user group topic, anyone? If you guys have figured out, like we're definitely trying to get more, I mean, we have our PDF paper maps like on our website with projects and stuff, but we're trying to get that push more to like web maps to replace them. And then also so that, you know, make sure everything is accessible as
We
well.
haven't had a whole lot of direction from our communications team yet as to what we need to do with our PDF maps that are up there. Because it doesn't quite fit into the same category as another PDF that's out there that just has content. So we don't know exactly what we're gonna have to do with that yet, as I'm sure you guys are in the same boat, but we'll have to do something.